There is a new app called Kwanele which aims to take the trauma out of reporting GBV in South Africa. There are a host of reasons, and you heard some of them in that package there, preventing women from laying criminal complaints against their attackers. This technology promises to provide women with access to immediate help to enable them to get through an often tedious and humiliating process. Kwanele Founder, Leonora Tima joins me now. Leonora, good evening to you and welcome. And there was just so much. I'm not sure if you were able to hear the audio in that package there. So many obstacles to women not laying criminal complaints at SABC. There's a lack of support during the process. And you have kind of pioneered, I suppose, in some ways, or through a collaborative process, found out ways on how this can be improved. Just share that with our viewers.
Hi, yes, good evening. So listening to that now, it actually capitulates exactly why we created this app. A lot of people reach out to us because of the struggles that they have within the SABC and within the judicial system, preventing them from accessing justice. So we put together this application that combines a variety of functions, looking at how to come around some of those struggles, including a panic button that is linked currently with armed response. But we also are doing an integration with SABC. It's just slightly more challenging because of the technology that SABC currently has. So you activate a panic button, it goes through to the armed response, and it live and audio streams the second that you activate it. And that is timestamped and geolocated so that it is admissible in court. And then we also have a vault hidden within the application where people can upload their case details so that our pro bono legal team can help them with some of those challenges that were being spoken around, protection orders not being served or arrest warrants not being issued. And then you can also upload audio, visual, or narrative information that, again, is timestamped and geolocated so that you can essentially collect evidence within your own case to strengthen the chance that you have of a conviction rate.
Before I talk about the collaboration between law enforcement, and you through the activation system in the device, perhaps it's important to ask, at what stage of development or availability is the app?
So we finished beta testing it, and we are currently piloting it. We are piloting it primarily in the Western Cape and in Gauteng. However, that being said, we are onboarding people all over. It's just because of the integration with armed response. Some of the rural areas don't have the coverage that we would like to see. So the principal pilots we're looking to onboard now currently around 1,000 users in the Western Cape and 1,000 users in Gauteng, and then scale it next year, hopefully to much bigger numbers.
I want to go to, again, and the reason I scoff in the way that I have is because every year we hear the same litany of complaints. It's as if women or, victims, say the same things every year. Promises are made about how the situation or, the systems will be tightened up, beefed up, and there'll be more enforcement brought to bear, and women will be protected in environments where they are reporting their cases. And yet again, we're still talking about this. What is your perception, and you did touch on it lightly, about the capacitation of the police, the availability of the technology that they already have to integrate, successfully with this kind of technology that you're bringing to the space?
So I think the capacity of the police is a huge issue. I think that if you look in a society where rape culture is hugely normalized, patriarchal systems, and then you have young police officers, often fresh out of matric, that go into training, they don't get given the social context training that they're needed, and then you put them at the front line of the gender-based violence situation in South Africa, and you expect that magically now they have changed attitudes and perceptions to these situations and that they're going to deal with it better. And that's impossible. More needs to be done about the upskilling of the people on the front line of this situation. And the technology that we have hopefully will create a platform for that, and hopefully with the data that we are able to collect, we then sit in a very good position for lobbying and looking at the change in policy But until those changes happen within SABC and within the prosecution, then women are going to continue seeing the secondary trauma that they're experiencing and victim shaming.
So what you're attempting to deal with, and of course we'll have to have a conversation once you reach the point of a successful pilot, you've got enough metadata to be able to profile well, you're able to troubleshoot any problems and gaps that you might establish in between. But dealing with just the structure of it, when I am attacked and affected, I can go somewhere, I can trigger for help, and I can get some good advice. The other half of the battle then remains, from a prosecutorial perspective, the integrity of samples collected from a victim or survivor's body, the processing, that's a separate leg. I was happy to hear about the legal advice that you can provide the woman, but is that where the boundary sort of ends, or does it extend further?
So we actually have 25 pro bono lawyers currently, and we're looking to grow that. And we do, generally where possible, we upskill people around legal processes. So we help them prepare better affidavits or better evidence that they need to present in court. We do court preparation and everything. We stand with them and often sit with them in court, because it's very scary actually to sit waiting for court on your own. However, sometimes we go beyond the virtual, and we also put people in court. So, for example, if the perpetrator has counsel, often we will put a lawyer in court. Sometimes we put watching briefs in, especially for minor cases, where they just ensure that the processes are being followed and that the prosecutor, has the support that they need to do the job that they're doing. And also sometimes in a few bigger human rights cases, we also then provide extensive legal support.
Yeah, so, and again, just to perhaps sharpen the point that I wanted you to respond to was around the collection of that data, the analysis really from a woman's body. You've seen in that story massive backlogs which delay cases coming before court, which weaken, a survivor's case in court.
So we are currently in discussions with a private laboratory and looking to do an integration, because that's the fun thing about tech, right, is you can integrate a lot of things in an app. And what we're looking to do as part of the pilot next year is to integrate with this laboratory, and actually then survivors who contact us through the app then do have access to private path care that is then funded. It's the CSI of this laboratory, but that wouldn't be probably till second quarter of next year that we will add that technology to the application.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us, Leonora. Really appreciate your time tonight. It will be an interesting one to watch. As you know, we're facing a pandemic, one would say, in South Africa of gender-based violence. That was Leonora Tima, the founder of Kwanele.